Under the stormy night sky, rain pours relentlessly over the towering, leafless tree standing silent in the dark forest. Three soldiers tread carefully through the drenched forest, tension thick as the rain pelts down, the soldier with beard gripping his weapon tight, while the others stay sharp, every step echoing in the storm. Suddenly, a massive lightning bolt rips through the stormy night, jagged and fierce, casting eerie shadows over the bare branches and shaking the silence with a deafening crack. In the dead of night, the masked man stretches out a desperate hand, meeting the soldiers' grasp as they struggle to connect amid the shadows and rain. The masked man locks eyes with unwavering focus, every ounce of determination shining through his golden and black armor. The masked figure with red eyes glares fiercely, blood streaking their face as they prepare to unleash something deadly. The warrior with sword swings down hard, aiming to finish off the smirking, unknown person sprawled on the ground in the dead of night. The man with glasses and mask, bloodied and desperate, reaches out through the pouring rain, fighting to stay in the game despite the odds crushing him. A slow, chilling smirk spreads across the unknown person's lips, hinting at a dark twist just beyond the chaos. The masked figure with red eyes narrows their gaze, a flicker of shock breaking through their usual menacing calm. Masked Man struggles for breath in the cold, his pained gaze flickering sideways as the mist swirls around him. MC's hand tightens into a bloody fist, nails digging deep as pain and determination clash beneath the surface. The wounded, unknown person reaches out desperately with a bloody hand, while the masked man stands silent and focused, the night air thick with tension. Under the cover of darkness, masked man lunges forward with fierce intent, while the other cloaked figure crouches low, eyes sharp and ready to dodge the deadly strike. Masked man and masked man lock eyes, tension crackling as a blinding sword slices between them, signaling a showdown that's about to explode. Masked man swings his massive sword with deadly precision, cutting through the darkness as the battle reaches its peak. Amid the chaos, MC's hand and foot tense near a cracked skull, the cryptic phrase "G for naught" hanging heavy like a challenge nobody's ready to answer. The masked man staggers, blood splattering from a fresh wound, his focus unbroken despite the pain. This fight is far from over. MC's bloody hand claws forward, nails digging in as if desperate to seize control or turn the tide in this brutal clash. Masked Man stretches out his hand, anguish bleeding through every desperate reach, as if fighting to hold on to something slipping away. Unknown person lies low on the forest floor, chest rising and falling with heavy, desperate breaths, every huff echoing the tension of the night around them. The unknown person smirks, sharp teeth glinting as their breath hitches, ready to strike or speak some deadly truth. Bandaged hands tense up. One clenches into a fist, ready to fight, while the other stays open, waiting for the next move. The dim room holds a massive door looming shut, flanked by three small openings that hint at secrets waiting behind stone walls. The wall's plaster is scraped raw with countless tally marks, each one a silent testament to time slipping by in this shadowed prison. Masked Man stands silently in the dim cave, his unreadable gaze cutting through the darkness like a ghost waiting for something no one else sees. MC's bloody hand slams down hard on the wooden surface, each strike echoing with raw frustration and unspoken rage. The sun dips behind jagged mountains, bathing the forest in a fiery orange glow that feels like the calm before the storm. The soldier with beard watches silently as the cloaked figure lurks in the shadows, clearly hiding because weakness forced him into the dark while the world burns around them. Masked Man bursts from the shadows, lunging forward with a sudden, fierce aggression that shatters the tense silence. The soldier and the masked man stand among a tight cluster of armored figures, their glowing eyes cutting through the darkness as they prepare for whatever's coming next. Masked Man dangles upside down in the pitch-black cave, shadows creeping closer as tension tightens around him. Unknown person lies curled up on a dim cot, blood seeping through makeshift bandages wrapped tight around their wounded leg. Masked man darts through the shadowy forest, every step quick and urgent under the cover of night. Masked man pushes forward with fierce determination, ready to face whatever's waiting in the shadows ahead. Under the eerie glow of a full moon, the barren forest stands silent, shadows stretching long as the night holds its breath. Masked man grips his sword tight, standing firm in the dark, ready for whatever's lurking beyond the shadows. Masked man's grip tightens on his weapon as he scans the eerie forest, every shadow a potential threat ready to strike. Glowing orbs pierce the murky swamp, eerie eyes surfacing like silent warnings from the dark water below. The man with glasses and mask screams into the night, eyes blazing with desperate fury, as if challenging whatever lurks above. The large black creature lets out a bone-shaking roar, its aggression cutting through the rain-soaked forest like a primal challenge. Masked man crashes down from above, descending with fierce speed like a storm about to strike. Masked man plunges downward, arms outstretched like he's desperate to grab something or someone before hitting the ground. The unknown person lies smirking on the rocky ground while the large black creature roars fiercely, eyes glowing as it charges in for a brutal attack. The creature lets out a deafening roar, fury blazing in its eyes as it prepares to unleash its savage power. Masked man crouches low, eyes sharp beneath the eye patch, ready to strike as tension crackles in the air. The creature lunges fiercely at the unknown person's leg, eyes blazing with rage as the darkness of the forest closes in. Under the full moon, Masked man dives down from above, aiming a surprise strike at the creature sprawled on the ground, shifting the fight's momentum in a flash. The man with glasses and mask lets out a fierce scream, raw intensity and fear ripping through his voice as the chaos around him spirals out of control. The skeletal figure swings its weapon down with brutal force, triggering a massive explosion that shatters the ground and sends debris flying everywhere. But even the masked man can't hide his shock as the blast's aftermath hits harder than he expected. The warrior lunges through the forest, sword slashing fiercely as the large black creature snarls back, claws ready to rip. This fight's far from over. Masked man soars through the air as a massive force crashes into the ground, sending mud and water flying everywhere. This chaos just keeps escalating. Amid the chaos, a wounded person collapses hard, clutching their abdomen as blood pours from their mouth, their desperate gasp, quash, cutting through the battlefield silence. An eye snaps wide open, shock and raw emotion blazing as the unknown person's smirk fades, the weight of the moment crashing down. The large black creature lets out a deafening, aggressive roar, its presence shaking the air with raw, untamed power. Masked man steps forward, undeterred, locking eyes with the creature as its roar fills the dark, tense air. Perched high on a tree branch, the large red bird scans the dark forest with sharp, alert eyes, every muscle tense under the eerie red sky. Masked man and the other figure focus on the glowing blue orb, but the creature bursts through the shadows below, mouth wide open and ready to strike. More of the large black creatures emerge from the shadows, their eyes sharp and bodies tense, clearly gearing up for a brutal attack. The soldier dashes through the dark forest, every step urgent as the shadows close in behind him. The large black creature crashes hard into the muddy ground, sending splashes flying as it hits with a brutal thud. Masked man lunges forward, grabbing the creature fiercely and biting down as the beast roars in furious pain, the fight turning savage and raw. The ground erupts as a massive explosion blasts debris and energy skyward, shaking everyone caught in the chaos. The creature cuts through the murky water with glowing eyes piercing the gloom, while the large red bird hovers ominously above, ready to strike. The man with glasses and mask screams out, his intense expression revealing the rising panic as chaos closes in around him. The large roaring creature pins the unknown person down, its aggressive energy overwhelming as the smirking figure lies trapped beneath the beast's weight. The creature's eye sharpens, glowing with fierce intensity as it locks onto its target, every muscle tensed and ready to strike. The creature lunges forward, jaws snapping shut as it clamps down hard on the unknown person, who smirks despite the deadly grip. The masked figure with red eyes sinks its teeth deep, relentless and fierce, as if feeding off the chaos in the dark underground. The muscular figure with long dark hair lies motionless, eerie glowing marks pulsing across his skin, while massive claws loom ominously around him in the shadowy depths. The muscular figure with long dark hair channels a fierce energy, glowing markings blazing as a fiery aura erupts, signaling a powerful transformation underway. The muscular figure with long dark hair reaches out, fingers trembling as they grasp the pulsating red crystal, its eerie glow casting shadows in the dark cavern. The unknown person smirks, extending their hands as glowing eyes pierce the darkness, and a massive large red bird emerges, ready to obey their command. That glowing red crystal pulses with ominous energy, locked deep within the dark, twisted structure, like a heartbeat fueling something far more dangerous. The glowing pink crystal suddenly explodes, scattering sharp shards everywhere like fragments of a shattered secret ready to unleash chaos. Under the full moon's cold gaze, the mountains loom over a silent forest and winding river, bare branches clawing at the night sky like forgotten memories reaching out. Suddenly, a blinding explosion rips through the darkness, shaking the ground as raw energy bursts outward, throwing everyone into chaos. The large black creature snarls fiercely, baring razor-sharp teeth and claws, ready to pounce with raw, untamed fury. Tentacle-like appendages writhe and twist in the blood-red haze, reaching out with eerie, unnatural intent that sends chills down the spine. Under the eerie glow of the full moon, blood splatters violently as debris and severed limbs rain down, turning the night into a brutal battlefield drenched in chaos. The muscular figure with long dark hair strides through the blood-red swamp, glowing symbols pulsing across his bare chest as the twisted roots writhe around him. The muscular figure with long dark hair locks eyes with a fierce glare, his glowing red markings burning brighter as he prepares to unleash something deadly. Under the full moon's cold gaze, the dark-haired person standing remains motionless, eyes fixed on the distant mountains as silence stretches thick around them. The long black-haired person surveys the fallen creatures sprawled across the muddy ground, their silence broken only by the distant rustle of the night. The glowing claws ignite with fierce energy, ready to tear through whatever threat lurks in the shadows. The monstrous beast roars, shaking the rain-soaked night as terrified bystanders scramble for cover beneath its looming shadow. The dark-haired person standing bursts through the underbrush, lunging forward with desperate speed as the beast's roar closes in behind them. A monstrous claw slashes through the darkness, reaching out with deadly intent just as the desperate figure races forward. Lightning cracks the sky as the armored figure stands unshaken, revealing a deadly skill that tracks monsters and the undead no matter where they hide. Under the full moon's cold gaze, the figure's eyes sharpen, calculating the next move in a deadly game only they can win. Long black hair person narrows their eyes, rain tracing sharp lines down their face as they prepare to strike with deadly precision. Long black hair person's voice cuts through the heavy silence, a rare moment of vulnerability as they admit, "I'm grateful to you." Under the full moon, the dark-haired person looking up forms a circle with their hand, as if sealing a silent pact with the night itself. The figure with blue flames hovers ominously, blazing with ethereal fire that crackles and consumes the shadowed space beneath them. Their eyes burn with cold fury, piercing the darkness as a deadly promise lingers in the air. The long black hair person locks eyes with the figure with blue flames as they both ascend, tension crackling between them like a storm about to break. The figure with the glowing orb snaps back. "You called me a bald vampire," as silence hangs heavy, the night waiting for the next move. The figure with blue flames summons a roaring blaze from their hands, the eerie light cutting through the darkness as tension crackles in the air. The figure with blue flames smiles coldly, clutching their face as the blue fire pulses, hinting at a dangerous power ready to ignite. Long black hair person stares ahead as the glowing tattoo pulses fiercely, its light cutting through the night like a silent warning. The dark-haired person standing reaches out, their touch gentle as the bare-shoulder person leans in, the tension between them thickening in the dim light. The figure remains motionless as glowing tattoos pulse rhythmically across their back, casting eerie light that cuts through the surrounding darkness. The man with bandaged hands extends his palm, declaring he only sought a quiet life, his voice steady but carrying an unspoken weight. The figure with blue flames steps forward, their presence cutting through the night as tension hangs thick in the dark forest air. The blue-flamed figure's voice breaks the silence, questioning the plan to transform the stagnant swamp back into a shimmering lake beneath the full moon. The dark-haired person standing meets the figure with blue flames challenge head-on, their calm gaze steady as the eerie night deepens around them. The dark-haired person standing breaks the silence with a steady voice, refusing to back down as the blue flames flicker menacingly between them. The figure with blue flames crouches, energy crackling fiercely as the long black hair person watches silently, tension thick in the air. The figure with blue flames unleashes a searing blast of energy into the night, while the dark-haired person turns away, dismissing the power with a cold, "I don't need it." The moon casts a cold glow over the silent mountain village, shadows stretching long as tension lingers beneath the peaceful facade. The person with red hair and vest pushes open the door, casting a sharp silhouette as the bald man with beard and scarf looks up, tension crackling in the candlelit room. The person with red hair and vest, bald man with beard and scarf, an older man with white hair huddle close, their eyes fixed downward, faces tight with concern under the cold night sky. Silent shadows stir as wild beasts emerge from the darkness, their eyes glinting with primal intent, ready to challenge anyone daring to cross their path. The person with red hair and vest notes the unusual timing. These wild beasts usually come only once every fortnight, signaling something's off this time. The hooded person holding wood grips the twisted branch tightly, readying for whatever threat lurks in the shadows of this dark, claustrophobic space. The hooded person holding would ask for permission to enter the village, and after a tense moment, two villagers cautiously grant it as animals silently watch the exchange under the night sky. The dark-haired person standing locks eyes with the villagers, their calm expression hiding a storm of determination as the weight of what comes next settles in the tense silence. With a sudden burst, the dark-haired figure charges forward, shattering the uneasy calm as the villagers scramble to react. The hooded person holding wood raises their hand, fingers brushing against their concealed face, tension thickening the shadowed air. The person with red hair and vest and the bald man with beard and scarf lock eyes on the approaching figure, muscles tensing as the night thickens with unspoken threats. Surprise ripples through the crowd as the bald man with beard and scarf narrows his eyes, sensing something off in the dimly lit room. The dark-haired person standing flashes a confident smile, clutching a glowing object that pulses with an ominous energy, signaling the game is about to change. The man shouting behind yells out, grabbing his face in shock as tension crackles through the dim room, the air thick with impending chaos. The dark-haired person standing steps forward from the shadows, hand reaching out as the eerie glow behind them pulses with silent threat. The older man with white hair narrows his eyes, a storm of concern and determination flashing across his face as the tension tightens around him. The masked figure with blue outfit tightens their grip on the white mask, eyes sharp beneath the veil as they prepare to reveal a hidden truth. The dark-haired person standing meets the figure with blue flames gaze, tension crackling between them as the night deepens around their silent standoff. The blue-skinned figure snarls and lunges forward, voice sharp as they unleash a sudden, fierce attack that shatters the tense silence. The dark-haired person standing calmly adjusts their mask, eyes narrowing as they prepare for the next move in the escalating conflict. The figure with blue flames launches forward with explosive force, white hair blazing against the radiant light as the dark-haired person watches, calculating their next counterstrike. The brown-haired person standing glances sharply to the side, alert and ready as tension thickens in the dim, red-lit room. The man with sword attacking slashes fiercely as the man on ground, defending scrambles to block, desperation flashing in his eyes amid the chaos of battle. The blue-skinned figure's eyes narrow, confusion flickering as they struggle to make sense of the relentless assault unfolding before them. The figure with blue flames and the long black hair person stand side by side in the dark forest, tension crackling between them as the night deepens around their silent standoff. The figure with blue flames ignites their power, blue fire crackling fiercely, while the long black hair person watches silently, unflinching as the dark forest holds its breath. The blue-skinned figure lunges forward, seizing their opponent with fierce intent as the blue light streaks pulse around them, the clash crackling with raw energy. The blue-skinned figure launches into the air with a furious roar, aiming to crush the dark-haired person standing, whose calm expression flickers with sudden surprise. The figure with blue flames tightens their grip on the object, eyes narrowing with fierce determination as the blue fire crackles wildly around them. Armored riders thunder down the forest path, their eyes sharp as they close in, shadows stretching long in the fading light. The dark-haired person standing grips a wooden weapon calmly, eyes scanning the approaching riders as tension crackles through the night air. The masked man with red scarf stands among a hardened group, their swords drawn and armor gleaming faintly under the dim light, ready for whatever threat looms ahead. The bald man with beard and scarf and the masked man with red scarf stand side by side, eyes fixed on the shadowy path ahead, tension thick in the cold forest air. The masked man with axe roars in fury, bringing his massive double-headed axe crashing down onto the rocky ground, sending shards flying as the sun dips low. The figure with blue flames crouches low, summoning a searing blaze that crackles and pulses, ready to ignite the battlefield with relentless fury. The masked man with axe storms forward, swinging his massive double-headed axe down with brutal force, shattering the silence and striking with relentless power. The masked man's eye ignites with a fierce red glow, signaling a surge of deadly intent as his axe descends. Blood splatters as the injured victim reels from the brutal strike, while the dark-haired person standing watches coldly, unflinching in the forest shadow. The man shouting behind rallies the soldiers, his voice cutting through the chaos as they prepare to charge into the fray. The figure with blue flames bursts into the air, propelled by raw power as the battlefield below erupts in chaos. The dark-haired person standing slashes through the air with claws dripping blood, each strike precise and merciless under the cold night sky. The man with mustache and beard stares wide-eyed, trapped and tense as armored soldiers close in around him under the ominous red night. The man with glowing blue energy launches himself through the dark night, his power crackling as he crashes down hard on an opponent, taking control of the fight with raw force. The man with long black hair and red eyes, blood smeared across his face and hands, stares down his next move with fierce intensity, clearly pushed to the edge but far from beaten. Suddenly, unknown character shouting bursts out terrified, eyes wide as he points into the shadows, yelling that the figure lurking ahead is not human. Warrior screams fiercely, swinging his sword down with raw power, ready to strike whatever nightmare lurks in the darkness. The man with gloved hand punches hard, sending shockwaves through the fight as chaos erupts around him. The man with long black hair and red eyes grabs the man with mustache and beard by the collar, their fierce stares locking in a battle of wills that's about to explode. The man with long black hair and red eyes slashes his sword with lightning speed, each strike cutting through the air like a deadly storm unleashed. The warrior screams fiercely, swinging his sword down with brutal force, determined to crush anything standing in his way. The man with long black hair and red eyes roars, declaring with deadly intent that the vampire's head is his next prize. The warrior takes a brutal hit, blood splattering as the violent impact throws him off balance, but his fierce glare never wavers. The man with mace winds up, muscles tensing as he prepares to slam his brutal weapon down, shadows of others watching silently behind him. The middle-aged man swings the massive spiked mace with raw power, aiming to crush whatever stands in his way. The man with gloved hand punches with fierce precision, landing a brutal blow that shakes his opponent to the core. The middle-aged man clamps down hard on the other's arm, his grip fierce and unyielding as tension crackles in the air. The man with long black hair and red eyes seizes the unknown character close-up's face, his grip merciless as silence thickens with raw, unspoken threats. The hooded figure lunges fiercely, slashing through the air as their target stumbles back, a sharp cry piercing the dark, claustrophobic space. The unknown character close-up clenches a bloodied cloth tight, every muscle screaming from the pain, tension thick enough to choke. The man with long black hair and red eyes stands tall, eyes blazing with intensity, as armored soldiers lie defeated and motionless around him on the dark, rocky ground. Two armored soldiers scan the battlefield, tense and whispering about the urgency. Now's the best time to conceal the blood before anyone finds out what really happened here. Sunlight pierces through the thick forest canopy, spotlighting the lush leaves and casting sharp shadows that hide more than just trees. The man with gray hair and beard leads a tense group in the dark forest, torches raised high as all eyes fixate on something ominous lurking above. The man with mustache and beard crashes to the ground, wide-eyed and tense, as the fire flickers nearby, shadows dancing on his intense face. The man with mustache and beard locks eyes ahead, tension crackling as two others grapple fiercely behind him, the fight far from over. Amid the eerie night in the dark forest, the man with long black hair and red eyes crosses his arms, smirking like he's already 3 steps ahead of whatever chaos is coming. Under the flickering torchlight, the man with long black hair and red eyes faces off against 3 cautious strangers, their surprised eyes locked on him as tension crackles in the cold night air. The big creature's jaws snap open wide, a primal roar echoing through the shadowy cave as tension spikes to a breaking point. The man with long black hair and red eyes looms silently behind the shocked middle-aged man, the night air thick with unspoken danger. The man with long black hair and red eyes screams fiercely through the dark forest while the man with mustache and beard lies wounded on the ground, and the young man with brown hair crouches urgently beside him, tension crackling in the night air. The young man with brown hair crouches low, panic flashing in his eyes as the armored soldier lying on the ground bleeds out, the shadows tightening around them in the suffocating dark cave. The middle-aged man, wide-eyed and tense, squares off against the man with long black hair and red eyes, their charged standoff crackling with unspoken threats in the shadowy depths of the cave. Under the starry night, the man with mustache and beard, the man with glowing blue energy, and the man with long black hair and red eyes all fix their intense gazes downward, caught off guard by whatever's hidden in the darkness below. The man with long black hair and red eyes grips the unknown character close up by the collar, their faces inches apart as tension and pain crackle between them in a fierce showdown. The man with long black hair and red eyes stands his ground as the big creature lets out a ferocious roar, teeth bared, ready to strike in the shadowy wilderness. The man with long black hair and red eyes locks eyes on the hovering man with glowing blue energy, who floats there confused, a glowing question mark hanging above like he's trying to figure out what just went down. The man with glowing blue energy lashes out with a fierce punch, smashing into the man with gloved hand punching, sending shockwaves through the fight. The man with long black hair and red eyes leans in, voice low and intense, as the middle-aged man with bald head and glasses listens, surprise flickering across his face in the shadowy cave. Envelope's hand tightens around the sealed letter, the wax stamp gleaming ominously, hinting its secrets about to unravel. The man with gray hair and beard scans the document with sharp focus, every line pulling him deeper into the mystery that's about to blow everything wide open. The man with mustache and beard's eyes widen, shock and fear flashing across his face as the truth hits harder than he expected. The middle-aged man grabs a hand tightly, his voice sharp and urgent as he demands, "What did it say?" No time for lies, he needs answers now. The young man with brown hair sits quietly, stabbing his fork into the meal as if trying to drown out the tension hanging thick in the wooden room. The man with long black hair and red eyes glances sideways, his intense gaze cutting through the silence like a blade ready to strike. The man with mustache and beard lets out a raw, desperate scream, his wide eyes filled with shock and pain as everything seems to unravel around him. The man with mustache and beard slashes fiercely at the armored soldier lying on the ground, his sword cutting through the dim cave air as the soldier struggles to defend himself. A squad of armored soldiers moves forward through the dense woods, tension thick as the lead soldier tightens his grip on his sword, eyes sharp and ready for whatever's lurking ahead. The man with long black hair and red eyes stands unshaken as a circle of armored soldiers surrounds him, blades drawn and ready to strike or seize him in the shadowy forest. The man with mustache and beard's eyes widen, panic flooding his face as the danger closing in becomes all too real. The man with gloved hand slashes with a knife, forcing the man with mustache and beard to reel back in pain and shock, the forest night echoing with his desperate cries. The man with gloved hand punches the man with mustache and beard relentlessly, each hit driving him closer to collapse as the brutal fight escalates without mercy. The warrior unleashes a powerful kick, sending the unknown character reeling from the forceful impact. The man with long black hair and red eyes lunges fiercely with his sword, forcing the warrior to brace himself and ready a counterattack amid the dark, tense battlefield. Amidst the rocky terrain scattered with fallen bodies, the red-haired attacker groans in pain, desperate as they plead for the violence to end while others watch silently from the shadows. The man with long black hair and red eyes gasps for air, his intense gaze cutting through the chaos as he steadies himself for whatever comes next. The man with mustache and beard stares ahead, eyes wide and sharp, ready to face whatever threat is closing in. The man with long black hair and red eyes looms over his prey, his intense glare burning through the dim light as an ominous silence hangs heavy in the air. The man with mustache and beard's eyes snap wide open, sweat dripping down his face as panic crashes in, like he just realized the stakes are way higher than he thought. The man with long black hair and red eyes leans back, locking eyes with the young man with brown hair, the tension between them thick enough to cut as secrets hang heavy in the air. The man with long black hair and red eyes stares ahead, his face smeared with dirt and blood, breathing hard as if just surviving a brutal fight in the woods. The man with mustache and beard lunges forward, grabbing the man with long black hair and red eyes, their fierce stares locking as tension explodes in the shadowy cave. The hand with rings stretches out, snatching a red-waxed envelope glowing under the eerie emblem of a sword entwined with roses against the dark city night. The young man with brown hair drops to his knees, eyes locked on the woman standing tall and unshaken, arms crossed like she owns the fading light of the forest. Dirt and scratches mark the tense, pained lips of the unknown character close-up, proof of a fierce fight just endured. The man with long blonde hair and armor grips his sword tightly, eyes sharp and focused as he scans the dark horizon, ready for whatever's coming next. The man with mustache and beard crashes down hard on the rocky ground, gasping and struggling like he's barely holding on. The man with mustache and beard struggles to reach out, desperation in his eyes, while the middle-aged man leans forward, hesitating but ready to grab his hand in this tense, shadowy standoff. The man with mustache and beard's eyes snap wide open, sweat dripping down as panic and urgency flood his face. The man with long black hair and red eyes strides away down the shadowy path, leaving the man with mustache and beard sprawled on the ground, eyes still wide with a mix of shock and desperation. The man with mustache and beard lies on the cold ground, eyes burning with intensity and fear, clutching at a bloodied hand that hints at just how brutal this fight has become. The warrior's head snaps back from a brutal hit, shock flashing across his face as the fight's chaos tightens its grip. The man with long black hair and red eyes darts through the dusky forest, heart pounding, as the man with glowing blue energy closes in, hovering ominously just behind him. The man with long black hair and red eyes grimaces through the pain, blood trickling down his face as desperation fuels his every move. Hidden in the shadows of the dark forest, dozens of eerie yellow eyes flicker, watching silently as the tension thickens under the moonlight. The middle-aged man bursts out, voice sharp and urgent, while the young man with brown hair grips his torch tight, eyes blazing as the whole room freezes, caught in the weight of what's about to go down. The middle-aged man scans the letter under the flickering torchlight while the man with mustache and beard leans in, eyes wide and locked on every word, tension thick as secrets start to unravel in the shadows. In the dead of night, the man with long black hair and red eyes nods sharply as the middle-aged man grips the torch tighter, their whispered exchange drawing the attention of the shadowed crowd around them. Suddenly, the middle-aged man's eyes widen, his surprised expression breaking through the tense atmosphere like a crack in the night. The man with long black hair and red eyes smirks like he's got the upper hand, while the man with glowing blue energy materializes behind him, turning the tension up to 11. The masked man's eyes burn with fierce intensity behind that white mask, like he's holding back a storm ready to explode. The man with mustache and beard points ahead, eyes wide with shock as he blurts out, "Night," while the others freeze, caught between dread and disbelief. The man with glowing blue energy bursts into action, his intense glare cutting through the chaos as blue flames surge around him, ready to turn the tide. The man with long black hair and red eyes breaks into a quiet, knowing smile, a rare flicker of calm cutting through the storm. The man with long black hair and red eyes clutches his chest, his confident smile sharp as the man with glowing blue energy hovers ominously behind, ready to throw down. The bearded man pointing shouts in shock, his finger aimed at something unseen, as the tension in the crowded room spikes instantly. The blue flame humanoid materializes silently, its intense aura cutting through the chaos as everyone's eyes lock onto the sudden, chilling presence. Dark-haired person close-up smirks coldly, lips curling with deadly confidence as the tension in the dark room thickens. The blue flame humanoid hovers silently under the night sky, matching the dark-haired person's cold smirk with an unreadable calm, their silent standoff crackling with unspoken menace. The dark-haired person close-up steps forward, torchlight flickering against the cave walls as tension thickens among the gathered figures, their smirk daring anyone to challenge the looming threat. The dark-haired person close-up locks eyes with the blue flame humanoid, their smirk widening as if daring the silent figure to make the first move. Unfazed by the tension, the brown-haired person eating calmly scoops a spoonful, their steady movements cutting through the charged silence. The bearded man, pointing, demands the reason behind a decade of solitude in the forest, his shocked expression breaking the quiet tension. Surrounded by an angry mob brandishing torches, the dark-haired person close-up smirks defiantly, unshaken by the fiery threat closing in. The bearded man pointing gasps in shock as the mob's anger boils over, their torches casting wild shadows that threaten to engulf everything. Bearded man pointing slams the papers down, demanding answers as the crowd's fury ignites, the flickering torchlight turning suspicion into a roaring blaze. The dark-haired person close-up watches from the shadowed window, a smirk playing as the chaos unfolds beyond the forest's edge. A clawed hand clenches tightly, muscles tensing as something deadly prepares to strike from the darkness. The eye snaps open, glowing an ominous red as a fierce resolve ignites within. The hand slams onto the wooden floor, gripping it with fierce determination as power surges beneath the surface. The fingers stretch out, claws digging into the wood as a desperate reach claws toward salvation or revenge. The dark-haired person close-up lifts a finger deliberately, and the blue flame humanoid perches calmly, their silent alliance a flicker of power in the shadows. Dark-haired person close-up settles into the chair, eyes fixed on the glowing blue flame as they clutch a mysterious object, the room thick with silent tension. Dark-haired person close-up watches intently as two blue flame humanoids hover silently under the dark night sky, their presence sharp and unsettling. Dark-haired person close-up raises a hand with a sly smirk, locking eyes with the blue flame humanoid as tension crackles silently between them. The dark-haired figure stands firm, eyes sharp, ready to strike as the room's shadows deepen around him. A massive hand lunges toward the blue flame humanoid, who hovers calmly above the wooden floor, unflinching in the face of the looming threat. The dark-haired person close-up adjusts their glasses with a smirk, eyes narrowing as the tension in the room thickens. The bearded man, pointing, clutches the paper with a shocked expression, his eyes darting as the two figures behind him watch silently in the quiet forest. The brown-haired person eating strides through the forest path, steady and unbothered, the weight of their backpack a quiet reminder of the journey ahead. The dark-haired person close-up smirks beneath their mask, fingers curling around an unseen object as tension coils in the quiet forest air. The group moves steadily along the dusty path, their footsteps stirring the quiet village air as the forest looms silently beside them. Two figures stand isolated in the vast valley, their presence small against the sprawling grass and towering mountains that cradle the silent space. The brown-haired person eating studies the map intently, while the bald person with backpack scans the mountain village below, both calculating their next move in silence. The brown-haired person eating and the bald person with backpack stand side by side, eyes fixed on the horizon, tension building as the mountain village waits silently below. A weathered wooden signpost stands firm, its carved letters hinting at the path ahead, silent but heavy with unspoken warnings. The dark-haired person close-up smirks quietly by the window while the blue flame humanoid crouches outside, tension simmering between them in the silent room. The brown-haired person eating freezes mid-bite, eyes wide as the unexpected shout cuts through the tense silence. The masked figure steps forward from the shadows, voice low but sharp, ready to shatter the fragile calm. The brown-haired person eating freezes mid-bite, eyes widening as the tension in the room thickens and the masked figure's presence demands immediate attention. Dark-haired person close-up strides forward, a large rolled item slung over their shoulder, eyes sharp beneath the dark cloak as the day's tension lingers in the air. Brown-haired person eating freezes, eyes locked on dark-haired person close-up as tension thickens between them on the rocky path. The dark-haired person close-up smirks coldly, eyes sharp as the blue flame humanoid stands silently, the room thick with unspoken challenge. The blue flame humanoid reveals a sharp-toothed grin, radiating a chilling confidence that promises the storm is just beginning. Blue Flame Humanoid unleashes a blazing energy blast, catching the brown-haired bystander off guard as shock spreads across their face. Dark-haired person close-up moves silently through the shadows, scaling the tree with lethal grace as the night swallows their form. A single red eye pierces the darkness, scanning with cold precision as unseen danger tightens its grip. The dark-haired person close-up cradles the small blue flame humanoid, eyes narrowing with a smirk as plans ignite behind that calm facade. The brown-haired person eating glances sharply to the side, senses alert as tension crackles in the air around them. The dark-haired person close-up smirks coldly as a sharp metallic object inches toward their face, unflinching under the threat. The dark-haired person tightens their grip on the blade, voice sharp and commanding, daring anyone to make the next move. The spear wielder lunges from above with deadly intent, while the crouching figure braces, ready to counter the sudden assault. The brown-haired man, smiling, casually steadies his crossbow, exchanging a knowing grin with his companion as tension crackles in the forest air. The brown-haired person eating freezes, eyes wide with shock as their body trembles uncontrollably in the dimly lit room. The man with the knife grins, his words sharp and unsettling as the younger man meets his gaze, tension crackling under the clear sky. Dark-haired person close-up strides steadily along the rocky path, clutching a basket, eyes fixed ahead as the tension from their last encounter lingers in the air. Dark-haired person close-up slashes fiercely with their sword, twisting to dodge the retaliatory strike under the cloak of night, every move sharp and calculated. The dark-haired person close-up launches a brutal strike that sends their opponent crashing hard onto the jagged rocks below, the impact echoing through the night. The brown-haired person eating strides forward steadily, their backpack shifting with each determined step under the clear sky. Without hesitation, the man delivers a brutal kick, blood splattering as his target crashes to the ground. The dark-haired person close-up glances sideways, a smirk playing on their lips as they prepare for the next move in the rocky battlefield. The man swings his axe fiercely, the blade cutting through the stale air with brutal intent. Dark-haired person close-up slashes through the air, their blade biting deep as blood sprays, turning the dark room into a battlefield. The dark-haired fighter clenches the sword tightly, unleashing a fierce strike with raw power that shakes the air. The man on the hill bellows a sharp command, pointing decisively as his voice cuts through the tension like a blade. Dark-haired person close-up tightens their grip, sword flashing as they launch a deadly strike through the dimly lit room. Dark-haired person close-up's blade cuts clean through the air, silencing resistance as shadows swallow the struck figure without mercy. They scale the jagged cliff, muscles straining against the unforgiving rock as danger looms below. A hand presses firmly against the cold wall, searching for leverage or a hidden switch in the shadowed room. A ruthless grip clamps around the throat, squeezing tight as blood sprays violently, turning the dark room into a scene of brutal struggle. Under the heavy clouds, tension crackles as they lock eyes, each ready to shatter the calm with the storm about to break between them. The brown-haired person eating reacts just in time, narrowly dodging the sudden, fierce strike that tears through the rocky ground nearby. A bystander gasps, hand flying to their mouth in stunned silence as the chaos unfolds nearby. The dark-haired person close-up smirks coldly, eyes sharp and unyielding as they tighten their grip on the sword, ready to strike. The quiet mountain village nestles beneath towering peaks, its humble homes surrounded by dense forests, hiding secrets beneath the peaceful facade. The man with dark hair and coat holds out a bundle, declaring it costs 20 bronze coins while the woman with brown hair and apron listens, basket ready. The man with dark hair and vest seals the deal with a firm handshake as the bald man with beard chuckles, and the red-haired woman laughs, filling the tavern with a lively, charged energy. Blue water elemental soars above the city, clasping hands in pure excitement, shouting a triumphant yay that echoes through the streets. The young man with brown hair weaves through the crowded hall, eyes scanning the restless crowd as backpacks brush past, tension simmering beneath the surface. The young man with brown hair pauses on the cobblestones, eyes narrowing as he senses something lurking just beyond the crowd's edge, ready to strike. The man with dark hair and vest slams his grip on the bald man with beard's collar, his voice sharp as tension crackles between them in the dim room. The hooded figure stands silent, eyes sharp beneath the cloak, calculating the next move in the thickening urban tension. The bald man with beard reaches out with a confident smile as the figure with a large backpack steps inside, tension thickening in the rustic room. A desperate hand claws upward from the shadows, grasping for salvation in the cold, unforgiving darkness. The bald man with beard turns his head slowly, a chilling smile spreading across his face as the shadows tighten their grip around the desperate hand. The hooded figure's sharp eyes narrow as they sit silently, their quiet, "oh my," cutting through the tension in the dark room. Fingers intertwined tightly, a silent promise forged in the midst of uncertainty. Menacing smile curls wider, a chilling promise that darkness is far from over. The air thickens as a shadow detaches from the darkness, eyes blazing with ruthless intent, ready to shatter the fragile calm. The masked figure with red eye narrows their gaze, every flicker of crimson burning with a silent promise of impending chaos. The bald man with beard leans in, voice sharp and urgent, warning that the shadows creeping closer won't wait for anyone to be ready. Sweat beads on the bald man with beard's furrowed brow as the weight of the looming threat tightens its grip, time slipping away faster than he can grasp. The bald man with beard clenches his teeth around a desperate hand, the silent tension thickening as every second drags him closer to an unknown breaking point. Sweating man close-up locks eyes with the bearded man, his nervous sweat betraying the rising fear beneath his forced composure. The bald man with beard leans in, eyes fixed on the covered object, a slow, knowing smile spreading across his face as tension thickens the air. The masked figure with red eye narrows his gaze, the glow intensifying as he silently calculates his next move in the shadowed room. Sweat beads drip down as anxiety tightens its grip, eyes darting with desperate urgency in the suffocating silence. The young man with brown hair's voice cracks as he shouts, sweat pouring down his face, eyes wide with raw shock in the dim light. The masked figure with red eye narrows his gaze, every flicker of his intense stare cutting through the darkness like a blade ready to strike. Shock freezes the bystander's face as the red-eyed figure's presence crushes the room with undeniable menace. The bald man with beard admits he's hit his limit while the young man with brown hair listens quietly, tension rising beneath the hooded figure's shadow. Flames roar over the rocky ground, consuming everything in their path as the night air thickens with smoke and heat. The hooded figure narrows their eyes, weighing the chaos outside as a dark plan begins to form in their mind. The hooded figure reads the letter carefully, each word fueling a dangerous resolve that tightens the grip on their hidden agenda. The hooded figure clenches the scroll, eyes blazing with cold determination as the night swallows their vow of retribution. The hooded figure summons swirling blue energy between their hands, molding it with precise control as power pulses beneath their fingertips. The hooded figure glances back sharply as the blue water elemental hovers silently, ready to strike under the moonlit forest canopy. The hooded figure leans closer to the table, eyes narrowing as a sudden realization sparks. OHHH. Blue water elemental's grin widens as coins rain down, the thrill of sudden fortune lighting up the room. In the eerie silence of the dark forest, the blue water elemental steps forward, eyes gleaming with excitement, while the dark-haired man watches silently, tension thick between them. The man with long black hair and red coat lifts the glass of red liquid, a confident smile playing on his lips as rose petals drift silently around him. The man with dark hair and vest sits by the flickering campfire, eyes scanning the shadows of the forest as the night deepens around him. The hooded figure crouches silently in the dim room, eyes sharp beneath the mask as they wait for the next move to unfold. The hooded figure sits motionless by the fire, eyes flickering with the flames as they silently weigh the shadowed presence nearby. The young man with brown hair forces a nervous smile, sweat beading as tension tightens the night air around him. The hooded figure crouches silently in the shadows, eyes sharp beneath the cloak as the young man's forced smile falters under the weight of unseen threats closing in. The blue water elemental hovers eagerly over the fallen figure, its glowing eyes scanning the scene as tension crackles in the air. The young man with brown hair sits silently by the campfire, eyes fixed on the flickering flames as the night deepens around them. The young man with brown hair smiles softly as he traces the feather across the scroll, ready to inscribe words that carry weight beyond the fading light. The young man with brown hair reads the paper intently by the campfire while the person with large backpack watches silently, the forest shadows flickering around them. The hooded figure steps forward, eyes locked on the rectangular object in the young man with brown hair's hands, tension crackling between them under the cold night sky. The masked figure with red eye demands answers about the cryptic message on the paper, his voice sharp as the young man with brown hair hesitates, weighing his next move in the silent forest night. The masked figure with red eye narrows his gaze, his intense silence cutting through the night as he waits for the truth to surface. The young man with brown hair sits alone in the dark forest, staring down as his thoughts churn, caught between doubt and determination. The woman with brown hair smiles softly, a blush creeping up as she touches her chin, caught between amusement and nervous anticipation. The person with large backpack sprints down the dark forest path, clutching an object tightly as the flickering firelight dances over the restless horses nearby. The young man with brown hair breaks into a calm smile, eyes sharp as if he's already 3 steps ahead of whatever's coming next. The young man with brown hair crouches by the fire, eyes scanning the shadows, while the hooded figure stands silently behind, tension thick in the cold night air. The young man with brown hair warns that these aren't just drifters, they're real mercenaries, and everything just got a lot more dangerous. The masked figure with red eye narrows his gaze, calculating the threat level as he prepares to confront the mercenaries closing in. The hooded figure studies the flickering flames while the young man with brown hair casually lifts a bottle, their quiet tension under the night sky thickening as danger edges closer. The young man's eyes narrow as the hooded figure's voice cuts through the silence, their exchange sharp and loaded with unspoken threats under the cold moonlight. The masked figure with red eye locks onto the young man with a piercing glare, the intensity behind the mask promising danger and a storm yet to come. The man with dark hair laughs confidently, breaking the tense silence, while the blonde-haired young man's expression shifts from shock to wary concern. The young blonde man's eyes widen as he looks up, sensing something ominous closing in under the cover of night. The hooded figure's cold laugh cuts through the night as the young blonde man stiffens, realizing this encounter is far from casual. He meets the hooded figure's gaze, eyes sharp and unyielding, ready to face whatever threat lurks in the shadows. The hooded figure jabs a finger sharply, breaking the tense silence with a challenge that demands an immediate response. The man's lips curl into a chilling smile, eyes gleaming with dark intent as he prepares to strike. The masked figure with red eye narrows his gaze, every muscle tensed as he locks onto his target, ready to unleash a deadly move. With a swift, brutal strike, the masked man shatters the ground beneath his foe, forcing them to scramble for cover as the battle's intensity spikes. The masked figure with red eye narrows his gaze, every fiber of his being locked onto the next move, ready to strike with deadly precision. The hand grips the cold door handle, tension thick as the threshold promises confrontation or escape.